Hello to everyone,
Hello.
and welcome to this edition of Marriage Talk. And I'm Jacob,
And I'm LaShawn.
and we welcome you again this week for this edition. So, on last week, we started a conversation to start off 2020 with the two topics of being committed and being consistent.
Yes.
But along with that, one of the things that we started off with first was character, having the right character.
Yes.
And we talked about how our commitment over these last almost 30 years and our consistency had pretty much everything to do with us having the right character from the beginning of the relationship. And we just want to continue today in that same vein with commitment and consistency. But we want to talk a whole lot more concerning character today.
Yes.
Now, last week I read Matthew, the 5th chapter, verse number 37. Verse number 37 says, let your yes be yes and let your no be no.
Yes.
You know, we talked about that you could only do that, you know, having the right character. You know, when we enter the relationship,
That's right.
you know, first of all, if I'm not going to be committed, then I need to be man enough woman enough to, you know, not even start it.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and that has everything to do with, you know, me having and you having the right character. You know, and you mentioned to me you know, a little while ago, and I don't know where you got it from, but you talked about how, especially when it comes to a lot of females, they need to stop collecting so much red flags.
That's right.
And most of those red flag has everything to do with that character. You know, that character wasn't that good, and you already knew that, and you guys got married, and now, you know, you're coming for counseling, and most of the time we're asked, well, how long has this been going on? When you noticed this, and it's been going on for a while, you know, and, you know, it was a red flag before you said I do. It was a red flag before you guys introduced each other to your immediate family.
That's right.
But all you did was collect that red flag.
Right. You saw all those, you know, inconsistencies, and not that anybody is perfect, you know, but if he or she was, you know, unfaithful, you know, just during the courtship, or, you know, they just, you know, weren't committed in a relationship, and, you know, their character was flawed. I mean,
it wasn't consistent.
And you saw
from the
those
beginning.
things like they didn't tell the truth. They never showed up when they were supposed to. They never did things. I mean, they just had a record number of bad relationships, and, you know, instead some people just kind of like collect all those red flags and just kind of put them up, hoping that maybe I can change the person. And, you know, again, we're not talking about, you know, having a perfect relationship. We're talking about having a healthy relationship.
That's right.
We're talking about recognizing, you know, inconsistencies and, you know, lack of commitment and those things while you're courting.
That's
you know?
right.
And so my thing is, why would you go even further and make that commitment of marriage? And then it's like all of a sudden, you know, it completely manifests, you know, itself in fullness, and then it's like, I'm shocked, and it's like, why are you shocked?
And just overlooking all those character flaws, and not that individual should be perfect, like you say, but there are some things,
some conversations
that we need to have, and there are some things that we just can't bring into the relationship. If we try to bring it into the relationship, it's not going to work. And you can't change me, and I can't change you. I didn't change until I was good and ready to change.
Absolutely.
You know,
so was I. I mean, it was not until I decided that I wanted to change, with God's help, and of course, you know, with prayer, you know, from others and myself. But it wasn't until that time that I made a conscious decision that I'm going to stop behaving or acting the way that I am, and then I'm going to really be who God has called me to be character-wise.
And put forth the effort to change and renew your mind. And so I found an article online. It talks about character traits to look for in a potential spouse. And, this is real. This is going to be real good for you guys that may be looking at the video and you're considering, getting married. You want to be married and you haven't found that person yet, but that's something that you are definitely wanting to do. You want to really listen out. And this article came from FamilyLife.com, and the writer of it is Dennis Rainey.
Yes.
And Dennis Rainey quote, "When you are searching for the person who will join you in building a lifelong marriage, what really matters is character."
Yes.
He goes on to say, life is full of choices. Marriage is full of choices.
Yes.
These choices are ultimately a reflection of our character and what we are basing our life on.
That's right.
And if a person's life is not built upon the foundation of God's word, and his or her character is not built upon that foundation, that should be a major red flag as to whether that person is marriage material.
Absolutely.
And because it's a red flag, and we need to deal with it.
Yeah. Oh yes.
We need to deal with it from the beginning. So he got some character traits that we should be looking at, and that I thought was real good. I think we want to share those things with you guys out there. And so I'm going to let you go first on a woman should seek a man who.
Right. And so the first one is a woman should seek a man who fears God.
Absolutely.
Some of the ways you can tell if a young man fears God are by his language and how he treats other people. Does he treat them with respect? So, that's big right there.
Absolutely.
If you are, in a relationship with someone or considering that, and you see how they treat, others, you see that they have no fear of God.
Right.
And they have no conscience about what they do. That right
I'll
there
say.
is right. That is really major.
Right.
That is something to really, really, you need to put the brakes on.
Right.
Because basically, you're going to be in for a big treat, and it's not going to be the treat that you want.
Absolutely.
The next one is a woman should seek a man who is not afraid to love, and this is really big. And it should sound like a no-brainer, but
it's not a no-brainer.
Right, because a lot of young men today and women are afraid of commitment.
Right.
So, and sometimes the young lady or the young man ends up chasing, either that young man or that young lady because they're not really ready to be committed. They're not really ready to love. They're afraid to love. They probably were in a relationship before, it didn't go that well. And I talk to women all the time. They say, "Oh no, I don't really want anything serious. Because I just can't put my heart out there again."
Right.
So it's like, you just do booty calls and, you just do touch-ups and, you just call somebody and y'all just kicking it, but each have the mutual understanding.
Everybody got their own agenda.
Right, but this doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
We just sex each other up, and that's pretty much the way it goes. So being afraid to love, that's a really big one. So if you
love is an action word.
Absolutely.
It's more than me just saying I love you.
Yes.
But it should always line up with action.
Absolutely. So our next one, a woman should seek a man who can admit his faults, his mistakes, and when he hurts you.
Yes.
And that's really big. Ruth Bell Graham made the statement, "A good marriage is the union of two forgivers."
Yes.
And that is very true because the reason is we're going to hurt one another. We're going to disappoint one another over and over again over our lifetime of our relationship. And so, hey, if you can't admit your faults, and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that to you. Please accept my apologies."
Right.
Or if you made mistakes, you can say, "Hey, I made a mistake, and I'm taking the onus on that. I'm not afraid. I didn't mean to hurt you."
Right. Own your crap.
Yes. In other words, And my thing is, teeth and tongue might bite, but get it fixed by the end of the night.
That's right.
Y'all should be able to sit down and talk about it.
That's right.
But if he can't really own, because you have some people that are very defiant, they're not accepting the fact that they did something wrong, even though they totally know they did.
Right.
They don't want to admit their mistakes, and they don't want to admit, or apologize if they hurt you.
I messed up.
Right. So another is a woman should seek a man who can control his passions. And this is huge, because we live in an age which is totally invaded by sex now.
Right.
Everything is about flesh.
And it's totally overrated.
Yeah,
it's totally overrated. Trust me, it ain't even that good.
Right.
Like that, how they try to, make it, and it's just overrated.
Yeah, and I mean, as individuals, we enjoy one another, but I want to have 5 and 6 women or men that I'm sleeping with,
Right.
I mean, it's completely overrated. A young man should be fully in charge of his passions, and he should be able to control his desires.
Right.
In other words, he shouldn't have a wandering eye.
Right.
He shouldn't be looking at other women. He shouldn't be flirting with other women.
Right.
And I've had ladies tell me, "Oh, my husband, he's a flirter." I'm like, "Well, that's not okay."
Right.
But they're like, "Oh yeah, that's just how he is." Or you have women, they're flirters, and their husbands might know. So this man or this woman can't have their own private life.
Right.
And they need to be committed to the relationship, and they need to learn how to control their flesh and control their passions. The 5th one is, hey, that man should know how to honor his parents or his elders that are in his family. That's really big.
That's huge.
You have men who they don't respect females. Now they would be in a relationship with one, but they ain't gonna be no respect in it. In other words, I don't mind cussing you out. I don't mind putting hands on you.
Absolutely.
I don't mind letting you know, hey, it's just what it is. Don't expect anything from me other than what we got right now. And so, if they don't honor their elders or parents and they speak ill of them all the time, that is really another big issue, because the first thing is, they're not going to respect your elders and your family. So it wouldn't be nothing for them to just dismiss them.
And we always talked about, and if a man does not respect and honor his mother or that woman that actually raised him, I'm telling you, ladies, it's going to be hard for him to respect and honor you, because his mom was actually his first love. And if he don't know how to respect and honor her, and you are able to see him disrespect her in front of you, then that's almost like a no-brainer of what you were getting ready. That's a major red flag. That's a major red flag.
You're going to inherit that. That's not going to be a good situation.
Right.
And final is that man, is he in the process of becoming a leader who knows how to serve?
Yes.
So, that is really big, being able to be the head of the home, and having such an authority and responsibility, because it's a lot,
Absolutely.
Being the head of household, being, the man of the house, and being the leader. And if they don't know how to serve, meaning that they have to self-deny, deny themselves and put you first or put your children first.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying neglect. I'm saying, if
knowing how to serve his family.
Absolutely. He has to have that servant spirit.
That's right.
If he is lacking that, then, there's going
That's
to be
a red
an issue.
flag.
That's a really big one there.
Absolutely.
You have to know how to deny yourself. And learn how to say, hey, I have to put my family first. I have to understand that I am the leader of this family. I'm serving my family, and in turn, they will get that back.
That's right.
Their families will serve them.
That's right.
But if you're not willing to be the leader and willing to be the servant, by example, then you're not going to reciprocate that back from your wife and from your children as well.
Absolutely. So. And then this article goes on with a man should seek a woman who. So the first one is a man should seek a woman, number one, who fears God and whose hope is in God.
Yes.
Now that's very big, because a lot of ladies are looking for a man to take care of them.
Yeah. Wow.
You see, and that you should never enter into a relationship
That's right.
looking for someone to take care of you, because I promise you, you're going to be let down and disappointed.
Absolutely.
But when her hope is in God,
That's right.
you know, regardless of how that man operate, you know, she's gonna always be, you know, I guess secure
That's
in
right.
who she is, you know, as a complete person
That's
coming
right.
into the relationship.
That's right.
We always say marriage is the merging of two great entities. And just like two companies that are agencies or organization that merge together, when they sit down to the table, and one organization say, hey, this is what I have to offer.
Right.
The other say, hey, this is what I have to offer.
That's right.
They don't enter into the relationship with nothing on the table.
That's right.
And when it comes to marriage, it should be no different.
That's true.
So, you know, when we connected, you know, your hope was not, I'm looking for a man to take care of me, you know, and it was clear that I saw that, you know, your hope was in God. You had a very strong foundation and background, you know, of knowledge of God and who God was in your life. And so that was very big. And then the second one is also, a man should seek a woman who honors her parents.
Absolutely.
You know, no different than you was looking for me to honor my parents.
That's right.
I was looking to see that same thing,
Absolutely.
you know, when it came to you. The third is a man should seek a woman, he says, who knows how to admit she is wrong,
That's right.
ask for forgiveness, grant forgiveness, and give grace when, you know, she feels in that area.
That's right.
You know, not being afraid to say, hey, I messed up. You know, being, you know, woman enough to own her mess.
Right.
The fourth one, she wants to be a wife and a mother.
That's right.
You know, he should be seeking that. You know, she wants to be a wife and a mother.
That's right.
And then she displays character through modesty.
Right.
Not just a female that looks good on the outside,
That's right.
but the outside only match up with, you know, who she is on the inside.
That's
you know,
right.
the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not how he thinketh in his mind,
That's right.
but how he thinketh in his heart.
That's right.
You know. And then the last one, he knows how to follow a man. And I add a little bit of mine, allow me to lead. A man wants a woman and should be looking for a woman
right.
who will allow him,
That's right.
as the man,
That's right.
as the head of the family, to lead the family.
That's right.
You know, I don't never make a decision, you know, without, you know, your input. And I value it so much. Even if I really want to do something, if you are like, hey, you know, I'm really not feeling that, I don't really see it that way, you know, I'm not going to do it.
That's right.
I'm not going to do it. But in the event, you know, if I feel very strong about something,
That's right.
even though you might see it another way, and I'm like, hey, you know, I just don't see this like that. I want us to do this. I want us to do that this way right now. You know, you trust me enough, and you have seen my character
That's
enough
right.
to say,
Absolutely.
okay, we're going to do it that way right there.
Oh, yeah.
Simply because I'm going to allow you as the head of this family to lead
right.
us.
That's right.
And I'm going to trust your judgment. And no, I might not be able to see it, but I'm going to trust because God is going to deal with
That's
you
right.
as the head of the family.
That's right.
Perhaps he says something to you. Perhaps you've seen something
That's
that
right.
I missed,
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
and you are looking for a female that's going to allow you to lead the family.
Yes.
Even when
That's
she
big.
don't really understand.
That's big. I mean, that's really, really big, you know, because sometimes, especially now, you know, you have a lot of people, they're getting married, you know, either a second time or later in life.
Right.
You know, so sometimes because they have such a strong streak of independence,
Right,
it is
right.
very difficult for
Right.
them to allow a man to lead.
Right.
You know, and so what happens is they'll get in these relationships, but by the time that man, you know, starts to really, you know, let you know who he is, and that's by displaying his character as the man, and also as the head of the family, then some women get like really no, ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. I don't need, I don't need no man for that. I just need him for one thing. And I'm like, well, if you just need him for one thing, just go buy some and then forget the relationship, and then you ain't even got to go through all that. But because I trust the God that's in you and the Holy Spirit that's on the inside of you, I allow you to lead. If I feel something in my spirit is not right, then I say, Jake, I don't think we need to do that right now. I think we need, and you trust the God in me.
That's right,
and
absolutely.
The Holy Spirit that you will say, okay, then let's just wait.
We're not going to do it.
Or I said, let's just wait on that.
Right.
Or you said, let's just wait before we do that.
Right.
And we agree.
Right.
And we wait.
And go back and to pray about it again.
Absolutely.
Because perhaps I thought I heard God when in actuality I didn't.
That's true.
And I like to say a lot of times, especially for us as men, the Holy Spirit sounds a lot of times like our wives.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we can get very focus driven.
Yeah.
And we just got our eyes on that one thing.
True.
But you guys, God have given you guys as females the ability to see the vision and see the goal, but also see what's on the right and what's on the left.
That's true.
And it's, and it really comes in, and it takes me really being sensitive.
That's right.
To the Spirit of God, being sensitive, and also knowing the gifts that lie on the inside of you to be like, okay, I trust the God in you. And because of that, even though I'm focused right here, because you were saying not now, or maybe we need to go this way, then I need to know as the leader not to be so stubborn.
That's true.
And it got to go my way because I'm the head.
That's true.
Being the head of the family does not mean I'm supposed to be controlling or a tyrant.
Right.
No. I need to have discernment.
Absolutely.
I need to know how to, I need insight. I need to know how to listen.
Yes, absolutely.
And so all of these things are just super amazing character traits. And those are just a few. I thought it was real good when I did some research that we wanted to share with you guys. And we just know that they can be a blessing in your marriage. And the thing about it is it's not those characters can't be an event. It can't be a one-time thing. They got to be a lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we got to be consistent. And there's no way, I'm going to be committed to the relationship. I'm going to be consistent in the relationship if I got all these character flaws that, I'm not dealing with.
That's true.
Either one of us have these character flaws and we are not dealing with it. We are not addressing it. We are not confronting those things and saying, hey, I love you, but I think we need to work on this here.
Absolutely.
And when we are able to be honest like that in the relationship, it makes the marriage work.
Absolutely.
So we want to end right there. We know it has been a blessing. Remember, guys, also that these videos are also on YouTube.
That's right.
So you can go to YouTube and also catch these videos. Just go on YouTube to Jacob Jenkins, subscribe. Every time I upload these videos on YouTube, you should get a notification. And of course, you guys should be listening to us right now on Facebook at Marriage Talk with Jacob and LaShawn on how to make marriage work.
Yes.
And so on next week, I've always been a curious kind of guy. And one of the things I was sort of curious about is what's the purpose of a wedding ring? Why do we wear the wedding ring? So I did a little bit of research on it. And so I don't have all the answers, but, gave a little bit of insight. And we want to talk about that on next week on why we wear the wedding ring. What's the purpose of it?
Yes.
And so we want to end right there. You guys continue to have a blessed evening until we see and talk to each other again on next week.
God bless.